In this series of webinars, I'm going to be asking the questions you've always wanted to ask to the people you've always wanted to ask them to. Today, I'm talking to an inspirational barbershop director about his epic journey to the international top 10 with his chorus, Fourth Valley. David Sangster, welcome.
Hi, Nicky. It's a great honor to speak to you.
And
of course, you are the, before we ever got near the top 10, let's remember that you got there before we did, and you were the inspiration in that respect. So no one shall forget that ever.
Oh, well, that's very lovely of you to say. And thank you. And I am very proud. But today is about your journey. So you're an inspiration to many people as a barbershop director and very knowledgeable about barbershop. But your musical background was a classical one.
Well, I come from a musical household, and my mum won't mind me saying that the main music source was my father, who died a couple of years ago. And I started my musical journey really with piano lessons at the age of 7. Miss Wilson, I will never forget her. Things she taught me, I still remember today. So piano lessons at the age of 7, that was my beginning.
Classical. And then you still love the piano, don't you? You still teach it, and you play, and classical seems to be where you started, where you come from, where you've gone back to.
Yeah, I've stayed with it. I've always kept the classical piano going. Sometimes it's gone a little off to the side for a while, but just recently I've been pushing back into it, playing more difficult music, some of my favorite things. I try and bring that into my appreciation of barbershop as well, in subtle ways.
We are very happy that you then started to dabble a bit in barbershop, and you did a bit of coaching, and you went to an international, and then in 2005, Fourth Valley's then director Maggie Wood retires, and they're looking for a new director.
At that time, I started life as a chorus partner, stroke, and later husband. That was my introduction to barbershop, was hearing Fourth Valley from the audience. But I'd always loved close harmony. So in fact, the first album that I ever bought was when Saturday Night Fever was all over everything, the number 1 album. I didn't buy Saturday Night Fever. I bought Manhattan Transfer's pastiche. Listen to that. When it came, I'd got involved with the chorus a little bit. Maggie knew that I had a sort of classical musical background, which she did too. So I'd actually coached the chorus. I didn't think of it as coaching then, but I suppose I had coached the chorus before I directed them. And I think because of that, some people in the chorus had said, oh, David should put himself forward. So there were 3 people went for it. And in the end, I was selected, and I'm very honored to be so. I'd never directed a choir or anything in my life when I stepped out in front of Fourth Valley. And that was quite a scary moment. When you walk out, first of all, in front of a large group like that, and all the eyes just go onto you, it is the most intimidating, I'll use that word, feeling. You just go, oh, what are they expecting? There's a real sense of responsibility. And I did feel that the first time. Now I don't even think twice about it. Quite happy to step out in front of thousands of people. But at that stage, that was still a thing. That was still a thing for me.
So your barbershop journey with Fourth Valley begins. And first time out with them, you take home a silver medal. How did that feel?
Absolutely amazing. But the feeling was all more of relief that I hadn't messed things up, sort of taken the chorus back. So but relief was the main feeling.
Really successful entrance into Region 31 for you. I mean, amazing. Great. So in 2007, you're back at regional contest and you broke 600. You came fourth. So you had come second and you came fourth, but you broke the 600. Talk to me about the placing versus score thing.
In one word, bittersweet. It was
Yeah.
bittersweet because the chorus had a goal of breaking 600 for so long. I think the only chorus at that point that had done it was Lace City. In those days, the top 3 choruses got to perform in the showcase, but I was hoping to get over 600. And if we had got over 600, given the way that the scoring had been before then, that would have guaranteed you a place in the show, or so one would have thought. So I was absolutely gutted that we didn't get to sing in the show. I was consoled by the fact that we got over 600, and of course we're very, very excited about that. We got the same score as Aberdeen. But they had 1 point more than us in the sound category, and that's the way that they do it. Fair play. 2 sort of larger Scottish choruses. We're kindred spirits in many ways. So I didn't grudge them their place at all. I was just so sad that I didn't get to sing in the showcase, but 600 was a biggie.
So you go back to regional in 2008 and you increase your score and your placing this time. And then in 2009, a big high point when you win your first gold with a score of 611 and this performance.
Oh, why not be friends? I'll make amends if you will just forgive me.
So, first gold medal, how did that feel?
Oh, that felt, well, there was no bittersweet to that. That was sweet, sweet, and more sweet. It was so fantastic. When they were calling out it was the longest sound I've ever heard when they were calling the second place. And your silver medalists are, and I was going, oh, the Fourth Valley is the fourth Phoenix. And I was like, oh. And then I thought, oh no, we've either got nothing, or, and I remember the chap Martin from the Dutch chorus that were big at the time saying, it's you, it's you, it's you. And I'm going, don't jinx it, don't jinx it. So it was that was a special moment. That was a special moment.
Absolutely.
That first time that you win something, you never forget. I won't forget any of the successes that we've had, but that one stands out as one of the special moments. First gold, not for Forth Valley. That was the third gold medal for Forth Valley, but there was a gap of about 15 years since the previous one. So a huge part of the chorus had never won a gold medal. And the people who did remember winning a gold medal were beginning to wonder if we'd ever win again. Mm-hmm. So that was special. Very special.
Okay, so Forth Valley goes to International in Seattle in 2010 with you directing and comes a very respectable 24th. And then you come back, recompete at regional and win again with a higher score, which means you qualify to go to International again. You go to Denver in 2012 and you come 24th again. That was quite a low point for you, wasn't it?
Yes, I think if I'm honest, the result in Denver was easily the most difficult one for me personally to deal with. I think we were better in some ways, but the feeling of it not cutting through and affecting our placement, I can't even remember if our score went up or down, but I think at International, you're so conscious of the placement more than the score. Well, certainly we were at that time. And I think just the feeling of not having made progress on, this score sheet versus all the work that you've put in for 2 years since the last time, it sort of felt like it just came to nothing. And I was quite upset. My dad was there in Denver. He came with me, and I was very glad that he was there because I needed a. I was very glad that that was one of the internationals he was at. So, but yeah, that was a low point in terms of our international. You've got to be able to ride the roller coaster. And if you can't take the downs, you're not going to enjoy the ups as much. That's part of the thrill.
It's the journey, it's the roller coaster.
It is.
Better.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's what makes you feel alive.
So 2013 brings gold again at regional and a score of 6.56. So back you go to international in Baltimore, and this time you're 18th.
Yes, we finally got the lift that we needed. And Baltimore is the famous incident. We had our up tune was How Many Hearts You've Broken, and it was a kind of a mashup-y thing. And we'd got it had turned into what Mo Field referred to as a bit of a Frankenstein. We had a bit where it was meant to sound like the chorus was coming through on a radio like that, and we had a radio dial that I tweaked at one bit, and the chorus all went, and then it came. I mean, it was really probably a gimmick too far, and the judges enjoyed it, but one of them called it shenanigans, and I thought, maybe we were a gimmick too far if she's talking about shenanigans. But anyway, the dial, as we called it, which was the dial that I turned at one point where the front row formed a radio shape, we had secreted that under the risers. And in our excitement at leaving the stage, we left it on stage. Now it's too late for us to be penalised now, but I think we might have got some sort of penalty. And I remember,
you're supposed to, are you? Leave anything on the stage?
No. So what we were all having a drink in the bar, and Norma Ferrier, our choreographer, suddenly went, "Ah!" And we all sort of thought, what's wrong, Norma? The dial, she said. She suddenly remembered. So posse of Norma and two others went up, because Norma couldn't be on her own at that point. She would have been a danger to herself and others. But so they went back, and I said, well, be careful, don't be seen, So they persuaded one of the security guys to go and fetch the dial during a break.
I feel like this.
And we got off with it.
The police are going to come in at any minute and say,
I know. We do laugh about the dial. So Baltimore has been remembered not just for the feeling that we suddenly burst forward, like it wasn't just crept a few places. We got up into the 20. So that was really exciting. And that was what we were waiting for. That was what we were working for. So Baltimore was good. Fantastic. But remembered for the dial.
Okay, so 2015, you go back to regional contest and you come third. Now, you've told me that Heartbeat and Viva deserved to beat you in that contest, but there must have been some disappointment. Was it that disappointment that took Forth Valley to what became then a different level of singing, or, how did you deal with it?
I think it was the best thing that could have happened to us. I think we were in a privileged position that we had worked our socks off for, to be fair, of having gone to 3 internationals in a row. And I actually think, looking back, and the chorus say this too, I'm not sure our hearts were really in that contest. Given that we're a chorus whose heart is something that people talk about, if you take that away, then we're not Forth Valley for it. I think there was an element of fatigue, but I think we almost just subconsciously needed a year out. So we certainly had a year out from firing on all cylinders. And you in Region 31, if you just draw breath, everyone's coming at you.
So you came back to regional in 2016 and back to winning gold again with a whopping score of 694 with this performance.
I used to
What a fantastic performance. And there was a marked change in the chorus in that performance. You kind of, went up a level.
Yes, there was one person in particular helped us do that, and that was Sandy Marin. It was one of those moments where the coaching really made a difference. And I hope it's also true that Sandy would not have been able to get those things to happen or maximize or enhance without us being at a certain place in our journey too. And I think it was an alignment moment. Probably the key to it was a sense that the chorus was beginning to believe in itself. Now, you might think if you've won 3 gold medals in recent times, that you would be fully believing in yourselves. But I think we all know that that is not necessarily the case. Don't know if it's a British thing, but I think we have a sort of national sense of not liking people who appear too confident. There's a sort of they're too cocky, or, confident equals cocky equals annoying. So you want to knock that down. And I think there was a turning point for that performance. We just came onto stage and you could feel something was going to happen. It was almost like a volcano rumbling. And we all felt it. And from the first chord of the ballad, I could feel the sound was alive. Again, it wasn't perfect, but boy, was it passionate. And then when the up tune kicked in and we got a cheer in the intro, when I was thinking, okay, yes, we just made that high note, but okay. And then the audience started cheering, and then I thought, okay, so that didn't matter, because the fires were burning. We're right at the edge of our vocal abilities. I mean, right at the edge. But there was a sort of a courage to that, and a commitment. And I think that because the audience responded to it, the judges really got that. A lot of hard work was behind that, but it was one of the moments in our journey. Actually, was that gold medal.
And actually, I think it was probably one of the moments for anyone who was in the audience, because I can remember being in the audience and feeling that, which wasn't cockiness. I know exactly what you mean, but it wasn't a cockiness. It was an assuredness, a sense of pride in everything from the chorus, from the moment that you started walking onto the stage. And I can remember as an audience member being completely caught up with that. And there's that thing inside you that says, when you see that, when you feel that, they're going to win. It was a moment.
It's lovely that the moment was shared between, not just for us, but for the audience and the judges. The judges kind of got that too. I remember Sandy saying, they live for those moments. They love that in the pit, she calls it. They love when you see a chorus is just shining at its brightest. And she says it's not about perfection. It's about feeling the maximum wattage for that chorus. And that was very special.
So off to Vegas in 2017, and you must have been riding high from that regional performance. And then there you are in the semis. That was incredible. When you came off the stage after that performance, was there any part of you that thought that you had done it, that thought that you might have made the 10?
Yes, there was. I thought it was possible, but I do also remember thinking that there was a group of maybe 5 choruses, the ones that you know are going to be there. You know who the biggies are going to be, and there was maybe 2 or 3 what Mo Field used to call grab spots in the 10, and a big chunk of people fighting for that. And having heard a fair bit of the contest, I could feel those top 10 slots slipping away. And we were looking good, I thought. And then there was about 3 at the end that were all potential top 10 people. I felt we were somewhere between 10th and 13th. So I was pretty close.
That was pretty specific and not far wrong, wasn't it?
I was pretty close, yeah.
And then you're announced as mic warmers for the finals contest. And I mean, incredible. You get to do your finals package, but you're not in the 10. So another one of those bittersweet kind of moments.
It was bittersweet, but I would say more sweet than bitter.
Yeah.
Getting to sing again is huge, because the difference is you get to be yourselves. You get to be yourself. Yeah. So for us, and knowing the set that we had ready, which was I knew it would be something that, unlike anything that had been on the international stage before, but it was more about wanting to show the chorus, the world, who Forth Valley are, and it genuinely was for the region as well. And you'll know this yourself. You're doing it for UK barbershop, or UK and Holland barbershop in the case of Region 31. But just getting to sing again turned out to be very big for us.
Absolutely. And before we talk about that finals performance, we need to have a conversation about the kilt.
Do we really need to? Well,
there has to be a kilt conversation. I mean, did you have to be talked into that? Was it somebody's? Because it was an inspired idea and it was carried off amazingly. Did it come from you? Did it come from somebody else? What happened?
Okay, so you've no idea the number of permutations that were at one point. It was suggested that we would do an onstage reveal of the kilt to head into the last song of the set, to give a sort of a moment. Now, I vetoed that because I thought too many opportunities for a wardrobe malfunction apart from anything else. Can you imagine? And also I thought it was too much. Look at me, look at me. In the end, I thought it was too tacky. But we came up with a compromise, which was to go black kilts from the start, so that any sort of, there's a kilt on stage, was already done, as it were. And the fact that it was a black kilt, it meant it didn't look weird when we were singing Rolling in the Deep, Beyond the Sea. It's like, why has he got a kilt on? Is it just to show that they're a chorus?
Because if you're going to wear a kilt for Beyond the Sea, it should be a black one. I'm kind of following this, but yes.
Well, when you put it like that, it sounds a bit odd. But what I mean is, it doesn't jar. It doesn't jar, because the black kilt is a sort of, it's like the kind of acceptable. It's like a cool version of traditional Scottish. So I felt that fitted with our bringing a bit of Scotland and later in the set, a bit of traditional Scottish music, but arranged in such a way that it felt like it had a modern edge. And to me, then the costuming, including me, fitted with that vibe, but didn't look ridiculous when we're singing Adele. I knew it had potential. We could feel it had potential. And to have jarred that with a sort of reveal or something, it was never going to happen. I would have been directing the whole set thinking, I hope this bloody kilt thing's going to work, you know.
Yeah.
I would have been quite nervous about that. Go with your gut.
And so you didn't have to be talked into wearing a kilt on the international stage. You were quite, you know.
I did a bit have to be talked into it.
Did you?
Where you're the opposite gender to your chorus, you already kind of stick out a bit. And I think if you overplay that, I thought there was a risk of it just coming over a bit too me kind of thing. I got that we were wanting to show something distinctive. So that was why we came to the compromise.
It was fantastic. And actually, you know, full out tartan, the brightest thing you like. We as an audience absolutely loved it. I mean, it was incredible. There he is up there in front of his chorus, proud about being Scottish and wearing a kilt. I mean, it was killing. Okay, so then follows this mic warming set and the most well-deserved standing ovation for your performance. And I want to watch a clip, and my choice of this clip has to be Mari's Wedding, which absolutely brought the house down. Let's watch it.
It was a moment on stage, and our wonderful soloist, Leslie Smith at the front, who sort of became Mary, she did the solo towards the end. She really took the moment, and we were very proud of her. We worked with an external choreographer, and Kirsty Hamilton. She brought some authentic edge to the styling of the move. She knew how hands should be and feet should be, and she totally got that we were going Celtic with a modern edge, and it worked very well.
Do you think now, looking back, that performance you showed the barbershop world who Forth Valley is? Were you happy that you'd done that?
Yes, we were. We got the audience fresh. We surprised them, and we showed who we were, exactly what you said. And I was fully satisfied that we had done that with our bit of pop. And then we did our proper barbershop, but we did a song that no one had ever done before. And then we did our Scottish stuff at the end, which was, we hoped we'd earned their trust by then, and that they could say, here's us. Here's where we come from. But, you know, we have an international chorus, but Scotland is where we all make our home. So we didn't make it nationalistic. We tried to tie it to the land, the place, so that everybody could feel part of that belonging. And I hoped that we got over a general sense of home. And I think people got it.
Yeah, they definitely did. They definitely did. There was a sense of, we had a sense of your pride and happiness at being from where you're from or living where you do, but we all felt it. It was just, it was magical, absolutely magical. Okay, so you go back to regional again and you get another gold. This is beginning to be a bit of a habit. And then you go to New Orleans in 2019. And your semis performance was solid and commanding and beautiful. And there was that fabulous new tag to Be on the Sea. You wrote that, I think, didn't you? Very special, special performance in the semis. When you came off from that performance in New Orleans, were you as certain as we were that you had almost certainly made the 10?
In a word, no, we were not. I was certain that we had done as well as we could. Beyond the Sea particularly was a really good one. And the audience responded, given that it wasn't a full house. We'd raised our level in a lot of ways. But that contest was, I think it was one of the toughest international. The field was just packed with top tenors. I felt like we bit off a lot, with every chorus member having a hat for the up tune. Props, oh my goodness. But we kind of blasted our way through the jazz song, and I thought, you know what, that had a bit of sizzle, a bit of sass to it, a bit of fire, and I thought we've done as well as we can, and we're just going to have to wait and see what the rest do.
And then wait, you did have to, because you were on fairly early, and then you've got to wait for the call off. Where were you when the call off happened? Were you in the auditorium?
Yes. Oh gosh, yes. Where else could I have been? No, we were all together in our spot, waiting for the results. There was really a sense of it being a Region 31 moment as well as a Forth Valley moment. But as they did the call off, we were called 9th, and I could just see all the places going. The 8th called off was Roninga, and we knew that Lionsgate hadn't been called. Obviously, they were going to be called. And I was just going, who else is there? And I had actually given up. Apparently, I'd gone like this. I was told that I had my head in my hands by the time they called the 8th one, because I just didn't think there was enough spots left. And then the 9th, they said Forth Valley, and it just erupted. It was just, all of us just screamed. And Sandy said she couldn't even hear Lionsgate being called. She just assumed that it was them for the 10th spot. It was because there was so much noise from Forth Valley. The sense of release and joy for that moment was just unbelievable. It was something special. It was like
a magical moment. So this time, no kilt, no Scottish dancing, just 4 homegrown arrangements by you and one of your amazing assistant directors, Ros Johnson. How important was that to you?
There was lots of conflicting ideas about what we should do. And in a way, we were sort of victims of our own success, because the Las Vegas set had been years in the making. I felt strongly that we didn't want to be pigeonholed as always having to play the Scottish card, because I wanted us to be seen as a chorus that were, it was us as musicians, as and that we could sing any material that we wanted to make a story. I wanted to show that we could go deeper and darker as well as lighter and brighter, and try and get those contrasts into a set. I wanted the connections between the songs to have a musical link each time, which we'd used a little bit in the our first finals package. But I think it was we were victims of our success with the first one, in a sense that some people didn't get it quite as easily.
I mean, you said to me you think that the set was a bit misunderstood.
I think it was, but and that's not me blaming. How could people not understand this wonderful? That's if we didn't, or if I didn't, get people to understand it so well, then we have to say, why not? Not those idiots didn't get it. It's like, why didn't they get it? They wanted to get it. So I felt like there were moments in the set that were really special. The end of Autumn Leaves, which is a very sad song and a dramatic arrangement. We changed the arrangement to make it more dramatic for International. And you could have heard a pin drop in the, and I could feel, we've got them. But we were on 9th. We were after Groningen, who were giving the last ever international performance with Britt as their director. That was always going to be the moment of the contest. And I felt that to be the chorus that came on after that was going to be a tough gig for anyone, never mind the ones who'd scraped in, but I think it was probably tough for us to be the ones that came after that. And then we had Lionsgate on the other side of us. That said, I am really proud of what we put on the stage. I think there was 2 arrangements by me, 2 by Rosalind, and so it all came from us. We just didn't put any tartan on it. But I think the set musically made sense. We didn't have that same freshness and fire that we got being first on with nothing to lose. We're 11th no matter what happens, so to hell with it. There was a little bit more pressure on us, even though we were newbies to the 10 in that respect. It didn't quite hit the audience the way that we had done in Las Vegas, and I think we all were aware of that.
Whether misunderstood or not, there is no doubt that your New Orleans final set was exquisitely sung. And the more I listen to it, the more I appreciate and love it.
Oh, that's nice to hear.
So, which is a lovely thing. So, in short, now, where do you go?
Well, first we have to get this blooming pandemic over with and get ourselves back together. But yeah, we've got our next regional set. We know what it's going to be. I think for all choruses, including us, it's going to be, there might be an element of getting ourselves back to where we were. In a way, I feel we need to make sure, and this applies to all choruses, not just Forth Valley, we all need to make sure that we're not too hard on ourselves about that. I think we have to allow things to be where they're going to be and be as good as we can be. It might be that it's another contest on before we're really all back to where we were. I don't know how that'll pan out. I don't know how the timings will work. We have another finals package planned because you have to assume that allow yourself to assume that that can happen again. And of course, our next goal in terms of contest result is to get back in the 10 and get higher up the 10. And we're going for our third one that I can reveal not too much, but I will say there is a little bit coming back of where we come from.
Yes! Oh, I speak for everybody when I say we want that. That's what we want. Okay. Yay for that. Yay for that. So I want to end this this wonderful chat today with a clip of your groundbreaking international top 10 performance, which we're going to watch, and that wonderful last song in your set, which was just tremendous. But for now, David Sangster, thank you.
Thank you, Nicky. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Darling, hold my hand, and baby, hold my hand, and mommy, hold my hand, and baby, hold me, 'cause I don't wanna walk on my own anymore, won't you understand? Yeah, 'cause I don't wanna walk alone, I
for joining me today, chatting to David Sangster. Look out for me zooming in on somebody else very soon.